Kia ora, Katrin here. Deepak Chopra and Michael Jackson were two people that I both pretty much admire who understood something. And I want to talk about that today and what you can do about it in your own life. They both completely understood that our future is very much shaped by the state of our children, how our children grow up. Whether they grow up in a loving environment where their own amazing creativity can grow and develop, or whether we, as Michael Jackson once said it, steal the childhood of a child. What that creates, we can see at the moment in many different countries all over the world. Stolen childhoods are what is creating the stolen world. So instead of going into the whole philosophy of this, but I must say this is one of my main things I would like to work with conscious parents, with governments who understand, with teachers who get it. But let's talk about how we in two-pointing can influence not only the so-called future, but also our past and the present. And within that, as an adult, already are laying the foundations for better childhoods for the future. I had a question from one of my course participants, and she said, well, if in quantum physics there is no past, future, or it's only the present time, she could not quite comprehend how, when we are two-pointing, that we can, for example, release a block that was created in the past, either in our own past or in that of one of our ancestors, how that now could affect us now or our future. And I would like to explain it this way. Our brains are only able to perceive a timeline in a linear way. Our brains can only think the past lies behind us and the future is in front of us. So this is a linear time frame. When we want to understand the quantum field or anything that goes beyond that linear, we need to step out of that way of thinking. So we cannot, with our logical minds, perceive that in a quantum field, basically everything happens at the same time. And I explain it as a concept that everything happens in different dimensions. There is one dimension here, one is there, one is below, one is above, further above, and all parts of you, there are more parts of you than here manifested in this reality, and they are on these different dimensions. And one aspect of you has already transformed all those blockages that you are currently dealing with at this reality. In order now to transform the blocks, in my work we use the two-pointing method, which is enabling us when we are going into the space by reducing our brainwave frequency. And the reason for that is that then our logical mind is not trying to figure things out in this linear concept, like past, future, present, here. We are at that point more open, like children are in the first few years. They have no judgment. They have no preconceived ideas. And this state allows us, let's say, to be more open, to be in that field and to experience something, not with our logical mind. We can't expect, this is another one of my favorite quotes from Einstein, we cannot solve today's problems of the world with the same thought process that created them. And to me, this also means it's not just another simple linear thought process that now creates a solution. For me, I would like to go back into the space that children naturally are in and be completely open and to allow information, solutions, ideas, creativity to come in from within this whole field, not just in a linear thing. For example, a school teacher is teaching me a certain subject. That is already one very limited way of thinking. And hey, it is not against school teachers here. I just try to explain this concept. So imagine a quantum field is nothing more than a huge big field around you. Our brain cannot logically pinpoint or explain it because our brain can only think linear. Future in the front, past in the back, presence here. When we are beyond that thinking, and we can go there with meditation as well, you can go there in hypnosis, you obviously can go there with two-pointing. So when we go beyond that way of thinking, that's when we can experience with all our senses the quantum field. And within that, we can now transform any limiting blockages, whether they happen for us here, and when I say us here is our manifested version in this dimension, but also in any other dimension that we choose to. So when I now, going back to this reality, when I now transform my limiting beliefs or my fears or my preconceived ideas, I am not only doing this with two-pointing in this reality, but in all dimensions. That means, because we are all connected, my children benefit from that too. And also my ancestors. Again, can't quite comprehend it with a linear thinking. But imagine we are all in this beautiful quantum field, all of us, and within it we are energy and we are all one. That is what to me means oneness. We are all one. On that level, we are all the same, if you want to explain it with the brain, protons and electrons. That's at that point, on that level, all of us are the same. And all of us are connected. So if I now transform here, I also transform it for my children and also for my past and for my ancestors who came before me. Our future, in my opinion, depends on children who have childhoods where creativity, where a flow of information, where this vastness, the space they have a connection with is not interrupted, is not put a cap on. So my main work really is, first of all, any parent, any grandparent, or any becoming parent who is conscious and who wants to have the best for the future for their children has to start working with ourselves. And then teaching teachers how this whole concept works. And then understanding when your children are then born, you are observing yourself and checking, am I in the way that I was brought up? Am I putting a cap on my child's development? And let's face it, none of us are perfect in that, and sometimes we are all human and we make mistakes. But every now and then becoming aware again when we do something, realizing, maybe I should allow my child to explore this area rather than me putting a cap on it. So that's my thing for today. As you can hear, I'm very passionate about it, and Michael Jackson and Deepak Chopra very much were alike, and many others as well. So I would love for all of us to see this better future, which is there in this vastness, with childlike eyes, because they are full of magic, they are full of wonder, they see everything as being amazing. They don't have judgment in the first few years, and that's what we have to kind of come back to, and we consciously have to get to that space. And when we do, we are creating that better world. And for me, it would be a marvelous world where no more childhoods are stolen, and children grow up in loving and beautiful environments. And with beautiful, I mainly mean that they know they are loved, that they know that they are treasured, and they also are allowed to stay in this openness as long as they can. I wish you a wonderful week. Bye for now.